Hello, this is Douglas Block. It is Sunday again, one more Sunday. Hey, Harry, hello there. Sunday the 3rd of December, we've just entered the last month of 2017, and as you can tell, hey, Danielle, nice to see you again. I have come down with a little bit of respiratory infection. My voice is not the normal voice it is, but I'm going to go to my acupuncturist at 4:05 p.m. Pacific time in about 4 hours. 15 seconds, Harry, that's not what you wanted. Cade, nice to see you again. So, I have an exciting announcement to make during the show today about my Patreon account going up live. We'll talk about that when we get some more people on. In the meantime, did you guys get notified that this was actually happening? I hope you did. Because, yeah, that's what YouTube is supposed to do, send out notifications when people are on live chat. Hey, Debbie M. Hey, Winston. Wow. I imagine it's day where you are. Yes, Winston, where are you calling from? That sounds like a nice English name. Maybe you're calling from the UK. Scott Blaze. I don't think have we heard from you yet? Nice to see you guys on here. So, I always like to start with a joke. I think I told you this a couple of times ago, but I still think it's repeating. What did one elevator say to the... This is actually quite appropriate given what I'm going through with my respiratory issues. What did one elevator say to the other? I think I'm coming down with something. Not bad. Newcastle, England. Well, I thought it was the UK. Winston. Wasn't Winston the star of 1984? George Orwell's, that amazing book predicting a lot of what's been going on. How's it sound, everybody? Gus, nice to see you again. I'm waiting for Mark to sign on, or even, who else? I'm looking for Mike. I'm actually going to send Mike a text right now, see what's up with him. Tracy, nice to see you. Great to see you all. What's it like in the notification came through, Debbie? Thank you for letting me know. So anyway, what's it like over there in Newcastle, and how's the weather? Pretty good? So let me go over to Mike here and see what he's up to. Once I can get over to, yeah, so, yeah, so, didn't get a hold of Mike, but that's okay. We've got U13 on and probably more to come. So, my video that's coming up on Monday is called Relapse, 5 Steps to Relapse Prevention. And I ask, what do you mean by relapse prevention? In this video, don't only drug addicts and alcoholics relapse? No. When you think of relapse, you think that's what you're talking about. People with addictions, people with, alcoholism, but it's actually about anybody who goes back into an episode. So like people with depression, I call it episode prevention. So we're trying to essentially prevent a new episode of depression from coming back, because it is a chronic recurring illness, disease, disorder, whatever you want to call it. Nice to tune in. And great, I got an email from you, Mark. Hey, Mark, nice to say. By the way, Mark C. was the first contributor to Patreon. Very exciting. Happened earlier today, and so he's jazzed to get his free books as a result of his contribution. Episodic prevention. I like that, Harry. So yeah, I mean, I've had, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes of depression starting at 18, and I know many of you have gone in and out. So we have to get used to this idea that, as I said in my book, when going through hell, don't stop. There are two steps in depression recovery. The first is getting out of hell, and the second is staying out of hell. It's like the first is crawling your way out of the abyss, and the other is making sure you don't fall back into the abyss. So we have to see that even when we're feeling well and we're maintaining, we got to watch it, because at any moment, depression, anxiety, mania can sneak up on you without you knowing it. Unbox Warehouse. Where is Unbox Warehouse? And I love everybody calls me Dough, D-O-U-G-H. Haven't been an episode right now. Yes, April has been writing me, one of my support group members, going through a difficult time with work that's very toxic. And, Sigmund Freud said that mental health is the ability to work and to love. And therefore, that if you are in a work environment that is not meeting your deepest needs for contribution, or is somehow negative, it's going to be it can trigger a depressive relapse. Wouldn't you say that, April? Would you say that being in a work environment that is not suitable to you is making it more likely you'll go back into depression? I think. Yes. What is he? Arcade Cup. You sound like a completely different person. Something in your voice is gone. Yeah. Well, I am. I am a different person when you have congestion. Yes. Harry says 2 hypomanic episodes caused by environmental psychological depression. Yes, says April. Yes. That's a negative work environment is making it more difficult for her to stay out of depression. What happened to my voice? I have a virus, a bacterial infection, something in here, laryngitis, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I don't know how long I'll be able to last out today. I'm hoping to make it to 45 minutes, but I'm sick. Harry Michelle, Stephen, 1 year picture, PMS, don't question what that means. Have a speedy recovery, says Arcade Cup. Yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Let me see if I can see more of your comments this way. I'm having trouble with this whole thing with the pop-up chat here. Anyway, I can see most of what you guys are saying. So, what is the first step in relapse prevention? What do you think it is? Pay attention. Do you have papaya? No, would that help? I can get a papaya right now. Yeah, actually, step 1 is be prepared. Be prepared. What does that mean? It means make a list of 2 things. One is things that will trigger you to go into a relapse, like, taking on too many projects or not getting enough sleep or eating a bad diet. And the second is make a list of people who you can call and connect with when you start to go downhill, because that's your biggest resource is other people. Any comments? Do you have a comment on light therapy? Yes, Dave Pickell. Of course, light therapy can be powerful. That's why people in Alaska and Sweden get depressed and drink, because there's not enough natural light. So yes, anybody who lives in the Pacific Northwest or the UK or any place where there's a lack of light in the summer needs to get a light box or a light book and use it on a regular basis, first thing in the morning, 20 minutes to reset the pineal gland, because a lack of light is a major trigger for depression. PayPal is a way to pay you on the internet. Yes, of course. I have PayPal. Absolutely. If you want to pay something, make a contribution PayPal, you simply go to my PayPal address. Is my address douglasblog@gmail.com is how you reach me, PayPal. But if you want to go on the Patreon account and make a donation that way, you go to www.patreon.com/DouglasBlock right here. And I will be sending you links, those of you who request them, and you can go right to the page and read about what Patreon does. It's a crowdfunding platform that allows people to support creators, videographers on YouTube like myself, and to use that support to help them create more content and reach more people and do more good. It's like giving to your local public television station or your favorite charity. It's just another way of supporting good in the world. And as you all know, we need more mental health recovery information out there, because there's a sparse amount of it, and a lot of people in different parts of the world don't even have access to decent treatment. So, holiday is difficult for me. Debbie M, of course it's difficult. It's difficult for many people. You're supposed to be happy and smiling and, getting along with everyone, having a large family. A lot of people don't have families. And, when we're heading towards the winter solstice, when the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting longer, that means what do bears do in the winter? They hibernate, right? Everything is slowing down right now. You should be going internal and meditating, but what happens instead in Western cultures? Everybody's encouraged to go Christmas shopping and make all this money for retailers. And so instead of going within and taking it easy, people are overdoing it and doing just the exact opposite. How hard do you think it is to overcome depression, bipolar disorder when your environment is terrible, like people in abusive families? Well, obviously, Harry, your environment has a huge impact on your mood. Your depression can be caused by genetics, but it also can be caused by early childhood trauma. I have a whole video on that. And so, if I build a combustion engine from scratch, that's very, very funny. Thank you. If you're in an environment with abusive people or toxic people or unloving people, then of course it's going to make it much more difficult for you to recover from depression or bipolar disorder. Do I have a cold? Oh yeah, I have a major cold, Bazowski, for sure. Thank you for bringing it up. It's amazing I'm even doing this. I'm actually being propped up from behind. You just can't see the person. You need to create a Patreon account to participate. A login and password. Yeah, so Mark C says if you go on the Patreon page and you want to make a contribution and join the Patreon community, they're going to ask you to create a Patreon account, but that's easy. You just give them your email address and you create a username. Nothing could be easier. Danielle says, I'm in a bad depression spiral today, trying to stay busy in the house. Yeah, that's a very good thing. And Danielle, if you could get out, if you could take a walk, if you could visit a friend, getting out of the house can be really, really helpful. So that's something else you might want to do. Let me see. Yes, so Harry, did I ask you your question about being around abusive families? RK, if I have a Patreon account, glad you someone up. I'll be donating soon. Super easy to make an account. I didn't have to do email verify. Yes, so you have a Patreon account too? What are you raising money for, Arcade Cup? I'd love to know. Maybe I'll make a donation. 71 says, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I troll on the internet. I make comments on Facebook just to get people wound up. I find it very entertaining. People say it's not right. Why do I do it? Well, you probably do it because it's a way that you can feel like you're making a difference or connecting or maybe getting a rush out of it. So 71, what I would do instead is I would say, what is the feeling I'm looking for and how else can I get that feeling? So if I'm wanting to do it to get a sense of accomplishment, maybe you could do something else. Maybe you could volunteer somewhere, take up a hobby, or if you want to get to think you're making an impact, well, maybe again, you can do something through friends or family or volunteer work. So ask yourself, what am I getting out of the trolling? How is it making me feel? And how can I get that feeling a different way? Dave Piquel says, have you mentioned 12 steps? Of course. 33% of the people I work with in my depression support groups are recovering from marijuana addiction, alcohol addiction, cocaine, heroin, and opiate addiction. So yes, 12-step groups. I model my depression support groups on 12-step groups. So yes, they are very, very helpful. And even if you don't have an addiction, they can create community. Hey Doug, feel bad, Mike bored and you shut up, feeling like in some ways I'm still like my job is making me overly anxious and causing depression and obsessions. Well, that's what April says, that, and Mike and I have been coaching together and we've been working on that. I should be getting that vocational interest inventory back in the mail. I did send it out 8 days ago. Maybe it's slow because it's Christmas. But yeah, finding, if you don't find work that's really supporting and nurturing you, it's going to contribute to your low mood. Danny Page, 7-1 on Facebook. If the post is public, family and friends might see your trolling comments. Yes. Have you ever met anyone who's had deep brain stimulation surgery for depression? And if I haven't, but if you go to a website called Depression Out of the Shadows, it's a public broadcasting documentary on depression that was on PBS. They actually show what deep brain stimulation is in someone who got it. That's very, very rare that people get it, but it is available. There's a woman in America whose name I'm blocking, but if you you have my email address, but I'm going to give it to you again, douglasblock@gmail.com. If you write me, I will send you the name of that woman who's doing deep brain stimulation right now, and you can. I'll send you a video of her doing it, and you can learn more about it. Were you thinking of having it done? And if so, where? I don't think it's available in very many places. Harry says it's a catch-22. Some people can have great environments, go through a worse depression than someone who's going through a traumatic abuse. You're right. See, Harry, there are two things that contribute to depression. One is genetic vulnerability, and the other is environmental stress. So if you don't have the vulnerability for depression or anxiety or bipolar, and you go through stress, you'll be bummed out, but you'll handle it. But if you have the vulnerability, as I do, if your mother and your father and your grandfather and your aunt and your uncle and your cousin all had depressive episodes or were hospitalized or both, then it's not going to take a whole lot to trigger you. You don't have to go through an abusive environment. You could just get sick like I am. My mood is definitely tanked since I've been sick. A lot of people can shrug it off. For me, it's not so easy. So the catch-22 is that it takes two things. There's two causes of depression, underlying causes of the genetics and the environment. And if you have the genetic predisposition, you're going to much more likely get it than even if the environment's not so bad. Thanks, Douglas. Yeah, well, send me that email and I will definitely get get that off to you. God, her name was on the tip of the tongue. She actually came to Portland, gave an amazing, she's from Canada, I believe, this woman who does deep brain stimulation. I wanted to know if you were, now, and there's something called deep TMS stimulation, transcranial magnetic stimulation. That does not involve surgery. Just look that up, deep TMS. T is in Tommy, M is in Mary, S is in Sam. A number of my clients have that. It's really helping them. It creates magnetic fields that affect the prefrontal cortex where mood is, good mood is, and it helps people to really feel better. And there's no surgery. You drive there, you get a 20-minute treatment, you drive home, there's no sedation, there's no, what are those called? Not antiseptics. What are those things called? Anesthesia. There's no anesthesia. It's called deep TMS, and you don't need surgery for that. So check that out. Maybe you're stressing out because it's Christmas, you want to feel good because it's the happiest season. It happened to me last year. Well, again, Harry, that's what happens. There's expectations that around Christmas you're supposed to be joyful and jolly. And oftentimes it's the exact opposite. I would rather have a brain transplant. Yeah, well, and I've wanted a brain transplant for some time. If anybody knows where I can get a brain transplant covered by insurance, let me know. Speaking of which, we should have a joke here, don't you think? Oh, well, I have one already in my head. Why didn't the scarecrow eat dinner? He was already stuffed. Okay, not too bad. I thought I didn't know why the ball was getting closer, and then it hit me. Okay, 2 puns. They do DBS for Tourette's too, but you have to have very severe treatment resistance. It's DBS, deep brain stimulation, right? So yeah, and then let me know when you find out where brain transplants are done. Pearl Ibanda, hey, it's nice to hear from you again. Just as I was thinking a bit from clinical confession, JD, I finally felt sick. Went to my doctor and said I have DP. I feel more depressed. Well, that's depersonalization disorder. I wish I knew about more how to treat it, but it does come with depression. So let me know what you find out about treating it. Myers is her surname. Which person? That's not the woman I'm thinking of who has the deep brain stimulation. Not deep, yeah. A different woman, but I'll look it up. I'm starting to come out as suppressive because 4 months got triggered by my mom dying at home in front of me. Wow. Jeff, I'm sorry that happened with your mother, but you're coming out of it in 4 months. That's pretty darn good. The key is to run till your lungs give up. Yes, that's right, Harry. That's why I bicycle up Rocky Butte when I can breathe, because by the time I get up to the top of Rocky Butte, I am so exhausted that I can't breathe anymore. So, first step of relapse prevention is be prepared. The second step is to pay attention, like notice what you're going through. And I recommended something in my other video called the 5-minute daily check-in, where you take 5 minutes, you go inside and check in with yourself. How am I doing? What do I need right now? What's going on? And then you meet those needs as you connect with them. So here are some early warning signs to be on the lookout for. Having disturbances in your sleep, feeling more tired than usual, worrying more than usual, having increased anxiety, feeling lack of motivation, apathy, withdrawing from friends, having feelings of hopelessness, and nothing brings you pleasure. If any of you guys start to feel any of those things, you know that this could be, a warning sign that depression is back on its way. And the third thing you do is take action. Let me see if, So once you make a list of the people who you can call or help you, and then you notice how you're doing, pay attention. If you start to feel any of these symptoms, the third thing you do is go to your recovery toolbox and take out the tools we talk about in this channel. And exercise is one of them. Anytime I'm feeling low, anytime I'm feeling pessimistic, anytime I'm worrying, if I can call my friend, and have them meet me at my house or their house and go up for a ride, a 15-mile round trip up Rocky Butte, 400 feet high and down again. When I get back from that bike ride, my mood has shifted. I've gone from like a 4 out of 10 on the wellness scale to a 6 out of 10. I've gone from slightly depressed to moderately feeling good, all because I got so much exercise and blood into my brain when I was riding up that hill. And as Hari says, at the very top of the hill, your lungs are about to give out. So that's how you do it. That's one tool. The other tool, of course, is to set up a time with your counselor. The other tool is to, go call your medication prescriber, maybe change your medication. Exercise gives me hours of elation, says Arcade Cup. Well, yeah. Pearl Events, I took your book to Chicha. I'm ready as well as I'm doing no meds. I'm better one day. I'm going out with my kids to show hope no panic attacks comes on. Yeah, I hope no panic attack comes on, Pearl. I'm glad you've got my book. I'm glad you're feeling better. And you do biking? Are you talking to me? I do road biking. Sorry about your mom, Jeff. I couldn't even imagine it happening to me right now. Yeah. You're too down to exercise, Danielle. Why don't you go call up a friend and have them meet you at the gym, or have them come pick you up and take you to the gym? Have someone who you know and trust, and have them exercise with you. That's the key. Just another notice here, if I can find it. Yes, the Patreon account, www.patreon.com/Douglas Block. It's a wonderful way to help more people around the world. I mean, you guys are lucky. You have this YouTube chat. You have access to YouTube. In Nigeria, in Africa, there's only like 60 million people, and there's only 600 psychiatrists. I mean, that's 1 per 100,000. I mean, that's not good. And we have at least 100 psychiatrists in Portland for a city of 400,000. So, that means we don't have 4 psychiatrists for all of Portland if we were like Nigeria. So there are so many places in the world where people don't get access to mental health services and information. And that's why I have this YouTube channel. That's why I have my website. And that's why I have my newsletters. Okay. Yeah. Dave says, hi, Danielle. Sorry it's like that. Well, again, I would again see if you can connect with a friend. Hari McTrusty says, I haven't been on medication for 11 months. Just multivitamins and lithium orotate. Why don't you explain, Hari, what lithium orotate is? It's lithium, but it's not the lithium carbonate that you take and you need a prescription for. That can be toxic. It's something that you can get over the counter at Amazon.com. And lithium has been shown to be a mild antidepressant in small doses. So I'm glad it's working. Lots of Nigerians in Houston, they think you're chronic demonically possessed if you have mental illness. Sextel, I don't know what hypothyreal stress is. Maybe you can mention it to me. Danielle makes an excellent point. In Nigeria, 1 out of 3 people thinks that if you have depression, you're possessed by demons. Yeah, you're possessed by demons, but the demons in your own head, they're the demons of a dysregulated brain, of a dysfunctional brain. That's the demons you're possessed by. So, that belief persists, prevents people from getting the help they need. And I didn't realize that people in Houston were thinking like that. You think once they came to America, they'd get more educated. I feel I was 380 pounds. I went down to 208 since April. I overdose. Do exercise. Even if a friend comes over. Wow. That's amazing you've lost that weight. Very good. Keep it up. I give all your tools and you teach credit for your help me through depression. You're a blessing, Doug, and thanks. Says Jeff Dilaha. How do I go ahead and find out where you're living? I'd be curious what part of the world you're living in. I always like to know where my viewers are coming from. Hey, Trisager 1550, what's the difference between Lamictal and lithium? Both are mood disorder drugs. You're right. One is a natural salt, lithium, and one is something created in the laboratory. Other than that, there's not really much difference, except lithium was the first drug ever to be on the market, and starting in 1960 in America, to treat bipolar disorder. It's the gold standard, but you have to be careful with lithium, because if you get too high a level, it can be toxic, and some people don't relate to it. So they're both good, but they're in the same class. So it's like, what's the difference between Prozac and Zoloft? Not a whole lot. Okay, it's stress caused by common CRT sound. Okay, what is cathode ray tube? Is that what it is? Well, I have an Apple. I have a laptop. There's no CRT sounds. I mean, if CRT stands for cathode ray tube. So you're like 140. Is that your weight, Danielle? Anyway, did I answer your question, True Seeker 1515? Lithium and Lamictal are both in the same category. They're both mood drugs, and they do very much the same thing, except, you're in Detroit. Hey, just 3 hours difference, Jeff. Great. So you take your pick with lithium and Lamictal and start small and see what happens. Yeah, Douglas is one of the best friends. He's helped me a lot. Thank you, Mark C. Appreciate it. Loving some too. Nice to see you again. Yes, I still don't think I received your email. What would it say, Loving Son? What would the return address of your email be? Because it wouldn't say Loving Son. Just, why don't you type out your email address right here, and then I can write it down and send you an email. I thought Lamictal was for bipolar 2. Well, it's actually, it can be used for bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. Lithium is definitely used for bipolar 1. There's also Tegretol and Geodon. There's a lot of other mood stabilizers. Let me see if I can find what I did with my drinks. I think they're behind me. There we are. A smoothie I made for myself. Okay, try lithium orotate, True Seeker. Yes, that's a lot of people get benefit, including some people on Paralabanda. B complex helps with panic attacks. I've been taking it. My last panic attack, it helps. Well, great. B vitamins support the nervous system. Everybody should take either B vitamins or you see a lot of grains and foods with B vitamins in them. Hey, Patty Douglas, my voice sounds funny. Yes, Patty Brady, excuse me. I have a cold. I have congestion right up here in my upper respiratory. It has your personal name, Loving Sun, too, but what is your personal name? I can't recognize it unless Loving Sun is your personal name. You see what I'm getting at? So if you don't want to give your personal name out here, I understand it, but I would have no idea it's coming from you unless I knew what name to look for. So you could send something in the body of the email. You could say, this is Loving Sun too, and maybe I'd recognize it. Do I like dates? It's one of the few things food I don't like. Isn't that amazing? Omar, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I will now look for that name, and I'm sure I will find it in my email. I will look for it right after we get off this YouTube chat. So I don't know why you asked about dates, Harry, but no. Just when you see your psychiatrist. Okay, True Seeker, great. So you guys can decide which one to choose and see how it goes. Start small. Dates are amazing. Yeah, well, a lot of people like them. Hey, so Patty, did I explain to you why my voice is funny? Do you have any questions? I think, Patty Brady, you must be from the UK or Ireland, right? Can you quickly talk about diet? Sure. There's a great book called Potatoes, Not Prozac, about a woman who worked with alcoholics and depressed people and found out that many of them were eating too much sugar. And that's why their moods were going up and down, or that's why they were craving drinks. So, Cade, avoid all processed foods, especially foods with sugar in them, like, cookies and ice cream, of course, every now and then. But the bulk of your diet should consist of vegetables and fruits and complex carbs like legumes and beans and quinoa, and then of course good protein sources. I tend to be vegan, so I like tofu and tempeh, but also sometimes I eat sardines because they are essentially extremely powerfully containing something that's very important for all of us, and that's omega-3 fatty acids. They help the brain. Hey, Holly, my God, you do like oysters. It's nice to hear from you. Holly just bought me this huge jar of oysters at Costco. There must be like 50 oysters in there, Holly. But I've eaten about a third of them, even when I've been sick. Yes. Oysters, by the way, you guys, one of the things that people are low on when they're depressed is zinc, and oysters are a tremendous supporter of zinc. So I have a lot of zinc. So if you really don't mind oysters, or you don't mind cooking them or sauteing them or pan frying them, they're a tremendous source of zinc, which really helps with depression. So I recommend you eat oysters or take foods high in zinc, or take a zinc supplement. Sardines with crackers. Yes, Arcade Cup, we talked about that. I met a 100-year-old man once, and I said, what's the secret to your long life? He said, sardines and crackers. So take that for what it's worth. April, got to run. I made Big River Tuesday. If it means I quit my job, feel better, Douglas. Thank you. Keep me posted. I think you should quit your job, April, but you know what you said, you have to find another one first, because I know you don't have a whole lot of extra savings to live on. So try to do it in a responsible way, and let me know if you're coming to goodbye. I'd love to see you again. We all miss you. Loving Sentence, I wish I had a magic wand to cure all the thousands of depressed people, and it would be for free. Yeah, well, Loving Sun too, if you go to the Patreon account and you make even a contribution as little as $2 a month, you'll be helping lots of people all around the world. And why does Final Cut Pro come up? Very interesting. Can you guys see me or not? That was strange. Some program automatically started. I hope I wasn't blocked out for too long. Oysters are extremely high in cholesterol. Doug, wouldn't advise well? They are, you're right, but as long as you do it in moderation. I wouldn't want to hit 50. But I'll take it. I'll take a look. Harvey, no attacks, giving caffeine to schizophrenic, giving cocaine to bipolar person. Okay, Harry, excellent point. I read during the week that aspartame may seriously damage dopamine. Diet drinks are a disaster. Yeah, well, no one should be eating Diet Coke. Those artificial sweeteners are more toxic than you think. Well, we've gone 1.5 hours. Time for my advertisement. How many of you have this book, Healing from Depression, 12 Weeks to a Better Mood? Body, Mind, Spirit Recovery Program, my magnum opus. Took me 3 years to write it after one of my previous nervous breakdowns. It really has everything that I've ever learned about depression. And I'm actually going to make that a reward. I'm actually going to decide to send that out to people who are contributing $20 a month on my Patreon account. And I'm going to send out a free signed copy of that book because I want more people to have that. So thank you for giving me a great idea. But anyway, Harry says, do you see my comments there? I've tied two paragraphs about the oysters or a lot of people having neurotoxic foods. Yeah. They do psychiatric and will study caffeine and schizophrenia are so many confusing words. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I agree with Loving Sun too. And what do you agree about? Esketamine is coming soon. I hope it's a new. Oh, do you think it's a new antidepressant, Loving Sun too? I'd love to hear about it. Does the book work with bipolar disorder? True Secret. Yeah, there's a whole section at the back about bipolar disorder, and but everything in the first part of the book, the exercise, the routine, the positive thinking, the connecting, the volunteer work, the spirituality, the lifestyle habits, the structure, the routine, all of that works with bipolar too, in addition to depression. So you can use the same strategies to treat the both. The only difference between treating bipolar disorder and depression is that with bipolar disorder, you need to be on lithium and lamictal or geodon, a good mood stabilizer. So yes, the book Healing from Depression does help with bipolar disorder. Shopping for a Vicodin gives me a panic attack. Well, maybe you should have a little. Why, Danielle, says Harry. Yes, you're an angel to us. That's our first time on depression, GAD. God bless you, says Pertly Bonnet. Thank you, because it just does. Well, if going shopping for a vegan diet gives you a panic attack, then I would go ahead and, add a little lean meat or, especially one that's organically grown and, pastures, not in feedlots and commercial meat where they torture those poor animals. So yeah. Patty Brady, what saved your life? You're awesome, says Loving Sun too. Thank you. Hey, by the way, Loving Sun too, at the bottom of the screen, there's a $sign. It's called Super Chat. If you want to help out, you could just go click on that and give $1 or $2 or $5. I forgot to mention that. For many of you who are not on iPhones or iPads, there's a $sign at the bottom of that screen that essentially allows you to click on it. Your comment will be highlighted, and then you will be able to be acknowledged for the contribution you make. So yeah, click on that, see what you think. It's a super chat button right at the bottom of the screen. Great book, says Patty. It saved your life, Healing from Depression? Well, that's a good, thank you very much, Patty. That's a very good, what's the word? Recommendation, yes. A very good recommendation. It saved your life. I'm going to make a note here. Don't worry. I'm just going to wrap back. I'm just going to grab a pen. So I will be right there. Okay, here I am again. When you have good ideas, it's always good to write them down before you get them, because my old therapist used to say a short pencil is better than a long memory. All right, my holistic doctor said mental health disorders, just like Crohn's, you want to optimize the central nervous system to maintain good health. Yeah, well, I would think so. And B vitamins, someone mentioned about B vitamin supplement, that really supports the nervous system. So yeah, that's a very, very good idea. All right, sounds like you're doing a lot of good work in terms of achieving a holistic approach to your healing your mood disorder. Don't look at it as vegan shopping. I'm not vegan, but to add a little vegan in your life slowly. Yeah, well, is it the vegetables, Danielle, or the lack of meat? Do you know what it is about the vegan shopping that triggers you? If you knew what it was, you could do something about it. Do you consider cyclothymia as a bipolar disorder? Absolutely. I didn't even know they used that term. Cyclothymia was a term that was used with me growing up. I was actually diagnosed with it in my 20s. It's where you go up and down, like bipolar disorder, but you don't go as far up and you don't go as far down. So you could say it's light bipolar disorder on light, like light beer. much less severe, but it can create instability. People are restless. They often move around a lot, change jobs, change homes. So it's that's what cyclothymy is. And are you, Truth Seeker, are you diagnosed with it? Yeah, truth, that's what they diagnosed with me. I bought the book on Amazon that next week. Because Chris House, nice to meet you. Where do you live? It means you cycle through moods. Yeah, cyclothymy, but so does bipolar. It's simply a bipolar disorder where you don't get quite as manic, you're hypomanic, and you don't get quite as depressed. You get mildly depressed. So that's what cyclothymy is. Manic depression, bipolar disorder, but your lows are not as low and your highs are not as high. You're in Pittsburgh, all right. One of my best friends comes from Pittsburgh. There's a very famous playwright named August Wilson who has a lot of his plays set in Pittsburgh. So anyway, nice to have you on the channel, Chris. What do you think about the genotype test? Well, I had a genotype test for depression and what medications might help me and what might not. It wasn't very helpful, so they still have a long way to go on that. Chris House said yes. I'm not quite sure what you're responding to, but thanks for saying yes. All right. I have going back to my relapse prevention thing. Okay, so to make sure you don't have another relapse, first, be prepared. Second, pay attention. Third, use your toolkit. That means like calling your therapist for an extra counseling session, adjusting your meditation, doing what I'm doing, getting acupuncture, going for a hot tub or sauna or jacuzzi, going out for a run. Use the tools that you know will make you feel better if you start to notice yourself slipping, so you can nip it in the bud and keep it as a dip and not an episode. Cyclothymy is a spectrum. You can be really badly depressed. Yeah, well, do you consider PTSD a mood disorder? Well, PTSD is an anxiety disorder. I don't know what the C stands for, Harry. Why don't you clarify? What's CPTSD? Yes, triggered by stress. Yes, people who are depressed. Well, God bless you all, says Pearly Bond for $2. Thank you so much. Are you from Mexico, I believe? You said you were. Thank you for contributing on that super chat. That was very sweet of you. Complex PTSD. Yes, well, that's considered an anxiety disorder. Do you know anybody who has it, Harry Matrusty? Or I have a couple of my clients who have it. It's very tough. You know, PTSD is what people get when they go to the Vietnam War or soldiers overseas, or when you grew up in a house with an alcoholic or an abusive parent. It means that your nervous system is so traumatized that it can't calm down. You know, when a zebra runs away from a lion and doesn't get caught, the zebra goes like this, oh my God, I'm safe, and it relaxes. But when people have PTSD, they never get to that point of total relaxation. They're always on edge, they're always hyper vigilant. Anything can trigger them. And so, yes, having complex PTSD is really, really tough. One of the things you want to do when you are having signs of relapse is to monitor your thoughts and make sure you don't catastrophize. Don't say, oh my God, I'm going to crash. This is going to be horrible. Just breathe, stay in the here and now, and you know, don't worry about tomorrow, as it says in the Sermon on the Mount. You know, let tomorrow take care of itself. Focus on today. Okay, people with PTSD can kill themselves, resolve immediately. Yeah. Sunny Games, what if I should smoke what is the number sign? You're talking about weed? And PTSD is awful, Bazowski. You never want to get it. I heard that vitamin D can ease depression. Yes, I'm taking it, actually. Niacin, I take 200 milligrams every night, and I've been feeling pretty good since I've been on it. No cause-effect relationship, but yes, I think vitamin B3 would be a good thing to take. And I'm not quite sure, Shiny Games, what you mean by smoke the, you know, what that is, but you can let me know. Okay, step 4 in relapse prevention is that if the strategies you're working, you know, if you've gotten prepared, if you've paid attention, notice you're slipping, if you've tried your toolbox but it still doesn't work, then it's time to go to higher levels of treatment, such as what I was talking about before, TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, deep TMS. It's just come out. It's very good. Or you can go ahead and you can try electroconvulsive therapy if you're really desperate. And then what are the other things I mentioned here? Go to an intensive outpatient program, which means that you're going to a hospital or a treatment center 3 to 5 days a week, 2 to 4 hours a day, or 2 to 6 hours a day. where you have structure and connection and group therapy and free therapist and a free psychiatrist. It's very powerful. Harry says, my multivitamin has 3,500 units. I can't really say what that is because I can't get this screen to go to the right, so let me know what that is. Were you referring to genocide when you said, yeah, genocide? Yes, I went to genocide, absolutely. And have you gone there? Do you know people? I went there at the recommendation of my prescriber, nurse practitioner, and it wasn't, some of the stuff was right, but some of it was way off. It said that Wellbutrin, I had a bad reaction to. Well, guess what? I've been on Wellbutrin for a year and a half, and it's just been no bad reactions whatsoever. Oh, vegan products. Well, don't get vegan products. No. Danielle, read a book called In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. Okay, everybody, as my gym teacher would say, listen up. There are just 7 words that give you everything you need to know about diet. Here they are from the front cover of that book by Michael Pollan. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That's it. When he says eat food, he means eat things that come out of the ground. A vegan product is a processed food. Vegan potato chips or vegan, crunchies or, vegan hamburgers, whatever. Go on the outside of the aisles of your supermarket and, pick out stuff there. Fresh foods. Not too much, obviously, means, don't have small plates and small portion sizes and mostly plants, because plant-based foods have 2 things that meat doesn't: micronutrients, antioxidants, and it also has fiber. 3 things that meat doesn't. So fiber especially, very, very important to colon health, helps prevent colon cancer and a lot of other stuff. So Danielle, you don't have to get things that are prepackaged. You can get your own food. Harry says you can make your own smoothies. Go get some lettuce or some collard greens or some chard arugula, put it in the blender with some maybe some bananas and some water or some apple juice, and you can eat real food that way. Arthur, I haven't heard from you. Wanking right now over some salad. Where ARFUR, are you from the Mideast? Interesting name. Check with me, says Harry. Dan, you make superfood smoothies. Okay. So I'm from Mexico, but you live in Oklahoma. Wow. Interesting. Just got a little tickle in my nose and I sneezed. Well, it's 42 minutes after the hour. We have 15 minutes. I think I can make it an hour. My voice is holding out. If any of you want to write me and ask questions in loving son, I will look for you under Omar, douglasblog@gmail.com right there. And that's how you get a hold of me. If you want to see what's going on with my Patreon account, which I just, crowdfunding site, go to www.patreon.com/DouglasBlog. All right. Mark says, bless you, Doug. Yes. Harry, I used to eat Oreos and potato chips in and out of depression. They were emotionally repressive foods, quick dopamine releases. Yeah, well, this is why in the book Potatoes Not Prozac, she says don't eat pure sugar. You know what has the highest content on the glycemic index, which represents how quickly sugar gets absorbed into your body, and that is alcohol. Is anybody here who is on this live chat had a problem with alcohol or drinking? I'd like to know, because it often comes hand in hand with depression and bipolar disorder. Anyway, so simple sugars give you a high, a rush, and then you crash. And then you need more sugar to get back up, and then you crash again. It's sort of like methamphetamine, but much less toxic. Harry McCoy says, Doug, I'm straight edge. I'm not quite sure what that means, but let me know. Dave Pickell says I need more vitamin B3. Well, that's interesting. Just go to your grocery store. You'll get it. It's right there. And Helen Mayberg, that's right. Very good. Oh, you're a genius. And how'd you find out? Was the Canadian doctor's name developing? Yes, please look her up. I've met her. She's one of the most compassionate and smartest people I've ever met. It's right there from Enda over, I think, in Ireland. Helen, Helen Mayberg, Meyberg. Did you look that up on the internet? Go to Out of the Shadows, that video. You'll see her, about a 10-minute piece on her, how she saved someone's life who had been in mental institutions forever by doing deep brain stimulation. John Vandermeulen, something positive. During depression episodes, I'm remembering dreadful past experience. I also have new affections about my family heritage. Well, that's beautiful. Could be 3, could be 6, could be 2. And, oh, someone asked me how I got my B12. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Harry. I take a vitamin B12 supplement, that, what's called sublingual. It dissolves under the tongue, and that's how I get my vitamin B12. Okay, thanks, Harry. Yes, so I'm glad that, the thing about people with depression is they tend to dwell on the things of the past that were painful as opposed to the things of the past were good. Close your eyes, try to remember something positive in your past. Everybody can, even if you've been depressed most of your life. There have been some moments of joy or affection or some moments of positivity. But people with depression tend to ignore those and focus on their regrets, what went wrong, what didn't go right, and that's called looking through a glass darkly. That's where cognitive therapy medication can help. Harry Matrossi says, Doug, have you seen the video of immunoassays depression? They study all 65. No, I haven't. Send me the link. True secret, just out of curiosity, how expensive is seeing a therapist session in the United States? Well, sliding scale. You can see therapists for $15 an hour here. The normal therapist, it depends. If they're a licensed professional counselor, it's $80 an hour. If they're a social worker, it's $90 to $110 an hour. And if it's a psychologist, it's $120 an hour. And if it's a psychiatrist, it's $250 an hour, but you don't see them for an hour. You just see them for 15 minutes while they write your prescription. So anywhere between about $80 and $120 an hour, although there are many people with sliding scales. Like for me, my coaching sessions over the internet are only $50 a session. By the way, I do long distance coaching over the internet. Just go to my website, healingfromdepression.com. If you want to do coaching, let me know, and we can start to set up weekly sessions where I focus on the book, healingfromdepression.com. We go through all 12 weeks. Oh, you quit alcohol 6 years ago? Great. Thank you, and excellent. Harry, thank you for sending me the link to that amino acid video. I really appreciate it. So, John Vandermeulen, did I answer your question or give you feedback that it's good? You should try to remember more positive things that have happened to you in the past. The more you do that, the more your mood will increase, because you know what? The mind cannot tell a difference between what is imagined and what actually happened. So I talk about something called a library of positive memories. If you actually close your eyes and you think of things in your life that were positive, that bring you joy, those are resources you can bring into your life right now just by imagining them, and they will have the same effect on you as if they were happening in the moment. So it's called the Library of Positive Memories. Alrighty, 48 minutes after the hour. Anybody have any more questions? Maybe I'll go look in a book and I'll see if I can find some humor here, just to entertain us while we're waiting for more questions. A lot of people in my depression groups are looking for work, so someone told me the other day, said, Doug, I got a job at a local bakery. I needed the dough. Sorry about that. My brother lives in New York City. He sent me the following text, that all the toilets in the New York City police stations have been stolen, but the police have nothing to go on. Okay, shut me up and ask some questions. I dropped out of communism because of lousy Marx, M-A-R-X. There was a class trip to the Coca-Cola factory. I hope there was no pop quiz. I guess they call soda pop here in the West Coast. We call it soda on the East Coast. Doug, how do I send the link to you, Harry? Well, you email it to me, my friend. You email it to me, if I can find my email paper. You go douglasblog@gmail.com, and that's what you do. And I'll get the link immediately. So, do we have an Adler Center in Portland? You're talking about Alfred Adler, the great psychiatrist, disciple of Freud. No, we don't. People don't usually. Thank you, Harry. I'll look forward to getting that today. Do you mean Alfred Adler, Dave Piquel? Because unfortunately, a lot of the other psychodynamic therapists, psychiatrists from the old days are not really followed these days. Mostly people just do cognitive behavioral therapy or DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. Everything is focused on behavior, not on the inner psyche, which is what the psychiatrists used to do, 50, 60 years ago or 100 years ago. Not quite that long, maybe 80 years ago when psychiatry first came into being, started by Sigmund Freud. There's a nonprofit and their psychologists are inexpensive. I can't, Hari, can you tell your experience of, it says MIN, I can't read the rest of that thing. I'm really frustrated. It's something about my screen here. So that word that started with MAN, can you just repeat it at the beginning of the sentence? I'd like to know. So I don't know. So yeah, I repeat the question, Hari, that you asked, but have the MAN at the beginning of the sentence because I can't. Mania. Well, I have never been truly manic in the sense of like going out and thinking I was going to run for president of the United States, or I was going to win the lottery, or or I was taking on 20 projects at once, or I bought 3 cars. But I have been hypomanic. When I got some money many years ago, and the stock market was going up, I invested in the stock market, and my investments were making money. I said, I'm a genius. Look at this. Everything I touch turns to gold. I'm going to write a book on it. I started to write a book on it, like slick. Everybody's making money right now, so that was a mild mania. Sometimes I've been manic when I've had creative inspiration coming through me, but it's been productive. But I find, Hari, that if I'm in a real high for a while, I can't maintain it. Eventually, there's a set point of mood that we all have. So if you go too far above the mood to get back to the set point, you have to go that much far below the mood. So I've had mild mania, and falling in love is like a manic episode, right? But nothing really serious, not like bipolar 1 people who, when they wake up from a manic episode, lives have been ruined, money has been spent, they've been bankrupt, they've had sex with countless people that, they don't even know. I mean, read about it. Read about real mania. It can be very destructive. Can you tell me more about dysphoric mania, says Truth Seeker, and manic depression? Yes, sometimes you can have mania, but you don't feel high, you feel irritable and angry. That's a kind of a mania, not as common as the happy-go-lucky mania, but yes, it's really hard to tell that, because sometimes that can be disguised as anger or being pissed off. So hypomania is, as I said, mild mania. I was diagnosed. The psychiatrists cannot figure me out after 50 years. Some people I think I suffer from major unipolar depression, and some people think I suffer from bipolar 2 disorder, because when I took some Lexapro, it thrust me into this very agitated state. And one doctor said, oh, well, that's mania, irritable, you're agitated. But another doctor said, no, that's agitated depression. So bipolar 2 is very, very difficult to diagnose. Yes, and P and F asked an amazing question. Do you use probiotics as a treatment for your depression because there's more serotonin receptors in the gut than the brain? That's how I think I got sick. I ran out of my probiotics. Yes, I take something called Good Belly, GOODBELLY in America. It's vegan probiotics, but yes. The other way to get more probiotics in your body is to eat a lot of beans, because when the fiber is broken down, it's converted to probiotics. Fiber in general, anything with fiber in it, beans, vegetables, fruits, that will help you create more probiotics in the gut. But I take extra probiotics just as a precaution, because you're right. If you have a happy gut, you'll have a happy brain. Yeah, Dave Patel, Alfred Adler, I didn't even know you. If you want to do some coaching, Patty, go to healingfromdepression.com, and then just click on under resources, go to coaching, and you can read about it. Or Patty, send me your email address, and I'll send you the link right there. Let me see if can I even write something with this thing? No. Yeah, I would write my email address, but oh yeah, I can. Okay. www.healingfromde. Okay. So, Patty, there's my website right there. Go there, and under the menu where it says resources, or go down to the bottom. I don't know which. If you're on a phone, I'm getting my thing redesigned, but go to where it says resources and find the mental health coaching link, or just send me an email, douglasblog@gmail.com, and I'll send you a link. My next stream is Wednesday at noon. My streams are always Sunday at noon and Wednesday at noon Pacific time, twice a week, on time, every time. So in terms of my email address, Patty, it's DOUGLASBLOCH. Oh, I don't even know where the @ sign is here. Well, so much for that. Anyway, so there's my email address. Pat, if you want to write to me, and I'll send you a link for the coaching. 56 minutes and 24 seconds. Truth Seeker, did I answer your question about dysphoric mania? It's something that I just learned about, and it seems kind of, how can you be manic if you're irritable? But, oh, you know what, Truth Seeker? I have friends of mine in the men's group, and his stepson went through a dysphoric mania, and he got very angry, and he broke a lot of stuff. So yeah, there's somebody who went through a manic episode, bipolar, where there was anger and irritability, and yeah, so that you're right, that's dysphoric mania. God, that's what happens when you have a cold. Harry McTrusty says, do you think suicidal feelings stem from psychosocial isolation because the feeling of depression becomes isolated, people feeling like burdens? Well, yeah, I think that suicidal feelings stem from hopelessness, and hopelessness stems from depression. And one of the things that causes depression is isolation and feeling an outcast, because the worst thing you could do to somebody back in the early days when we were tribes was excommunicate them, because without the group, people died. So we have this instinct programmed into us. We have a genetic need for community and connection. So when we're isolated, that completely goes against our mental and physical health. Love and Survival, a book by Dean Ornish, proved that people who feel more connected and loved have less heart attacks than those who don't. Turns out that emotional love helps heal the physical heart as well as the emotional heart. Now, of course, there are many other factors involved, like diet and exercise and genetics, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you have a lot of love in your heart, you can eat a lot of crap, but yes, I think that suicidal feelings are exacerbated or made worse by isolation and people not feeling connected to their community or feeling connected to their group. Yes, Truth Seeker, usually everything's triggered by stress. Hey, Doug, oh my God, you sound like another person. Get better. Yeah, hey, Forever Freak, nice to see you again. Thanks for your work and expertise and caring. Dave, I have left a message with this woman. You know, her name is Melissa Shockman, Shokman. Do you want me to go ahead and email you her phone number? You can call her long distance and see if she does coaching over the phone about trauma. Probably not, because trauma is so, it's so intense. I don't think you could guide someone through, reliving trauma over the phone, but maybe she could recommend some good books or maybe some good therapists in Vancouver, British Columbia. Great video once again, Douglas. Thank you. Well, Edna, again, if you want to go to my Patreon account, patreon.com, you can join my Patreon community, which is making this available. I mean, if I have more money coming in, right, that means I can have not just 2 live chats a week, but 3 or maybe more. That means instead of having 1 video come out every Monday, I can have a video coming out every Monday and Thursday. I definitely want to spend my time. I call it a ministry. I hope no one's offended by that word. This is a mental health ministry. And, the books, the support groups, the newsletters, the live chats, the videos on YouTube, this is all an attempt for me to take all the suffering and pain I've been through. And, as they say, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. I'm trying to make lemonade and share this with more people, because there needs to be so much more good information and positive information about mental health and healing. Just go on the internet. You see how many people are unhappy and desperate. Harry Mishowski says, I always tell people, the ones that come out of depression, you look at their life, it only becomes plausible if your life is perceptively bad, if you have no friends, etc. I'm not quite sure what that meant because I couldn't read everything because my YouTube pop-up chat isn't working, but I'm sure that whatever you tell people is correct, even though I couldn't read everything you said. So, 1 hour and 20 seconds. It looks like I need to go get ready to see my acupuncturist. I think hasn't my voice gotten better during this talk? You guys have been here from the beginning. Doesn't my voice sound more like me? Maybe talking is a way to get out of it, get all that crap out of your system. That and cayenne pepper I found is very helpful. So here we are at the end of another hour. So announcements. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I'm going to publish my video called 5 Steps to Relapse Prevention. I think you'll find it very helpful. On Wednesday at noon, we're doing another live chat. And then tomorrow, Monday, December 4th, I'm officially launching my Patreon site, which Mark C. has already joined, and I think some of you will find it very interesting. You opened up your larynx, says Harry Mitrusty. Yes, well, I guess that's what a lot of talking did. Voice is better. Thank you, Kate. Well, maybe I can cancel my appointment for the acupuncturist and save myself $200. No, I'm joking. I go to a place called Working Class Acupuncture here in Portland, Oregon. They only charge $35 a session compared to the normal price of $90. There's working class acupuncturists. They're called community acupuncture centers. They're all over the United States of America. Type in community acupuncture in Google and type in your zip code. See if there's any in your area. You can get really good acupuncture for very, very little money. It's a really great concept. Next stream, Wednesday, noon, Pacific time, 8 p.m. UK time, United Kingdom time. And thank you again, Dave. Let me know if you want the number of the trauma therapist. Thank you, Forever Freak. Thank you for all the people who have come here on a regular basis. Next stream, Wednesday, says Harry Mitrusty at noon, Pacific time, 8 p.m. UK, United Kingdom time, Britain time, Ireland time, Scotland time. My name, Douglas, is a Scottish word. It means by the Black River, by the dark stream. I love black and I love streams, so it was a good name. Truth Seeker, I love your name. 1515. We're all truth seekers. We're all trying to seek the truth. It says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." In somewhere in the New Testament, I always like that. The truth shall set us free. The truth of depression, and the truth of bipolar disorder, and the truth of schizophrenia, and the truth of anxiety disorders is that recovery is possible. The brain is neuroplastic. The brain can heal itself. We can get better. Restoration is possible. One of my new videos that will be coming out in a couple of weeks is all about restoration. I don't care how far down you are. I don't care how bad you feel. I don't care how crummy your life has been. There is always the possibility of a new day and a new life and a new creation. So take that with you. And yeah, you're right, Dave Piquel. Pre-verbal trauma is somatic. So probably good to meet a trauma therapist in person. But anyway, as I was saying, we can be restored. We can come back to life. Never, never, never give up. That's what the Dalai Lama says. So my last words are, no matter how bad you're feeling, never give up. Set the intention to heal. Reach out for support, and you will find help. This has been Douglas Block. I hope to see you on Wednesday live. And please feel to add your comments on this live chat. It'll be live for another 10 minutes. And feel free to email me, douglasblock@gmail.com, or go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/healing depression, and leave any comments you want on my videos. Bless everyone, and I hope you have a good week.